morning students, welcome to the chemistry class. In the last class, successfully we have completed one chapter in chemistry. So that is the fundamental and basic concepts for chemistry. It will help you throughout your higher education, wherever you are going to study. It may be either physics and chemistry, it will be together helps you. So that is the basic concept. And some of the portion they are deducted. That is, I am going to send you the copy. So which is reduced in the first chapter. Means just few days back. In the last week they have launched the reduced syllabus. So based on that, I will keep the exams for you people on day after tomorrow. So coming to the next chapter, so we will begin from today. We are continuing the new chapter, that is, as you can able to see the backside, classification of elements and the properties of classification of elements and periodicity in properties. Periodicity in the properties. So for your kind information, whatever you have studied in SSLC, means in the periodic classification, you have studied it. Whichever the content you have studied it, there is no more than that. But slightly you are having some little more. But whichever you are thorough in that, it will influence, it will help you to understand very thoroughly about this chapter. Okay, so let's begin. Classification of elements. Here, classification of elements are nothing but here we are going to classify the elements. Means we are not directly going for the modern periodic table. We are going to explain you the history, how the classifications are beginning. So as we did in the high school level. So here also same thing we are going to discuss about the three factors. So before that, let me tell you, in the below is having and periodicity in the property. Periodicity in the properties are nothing but here we are going to classify the element based on their properties which undergo period. Which undergo period means periodicity is nothing but properties of the elements are repeating. Based on that, we are classifying the elements. Means we are classifying the elements on the basis of similarity of the properties. On the basis of similarity of the properties. Means the elements which are having same property, they are placed in one group or one place. That is called as classification. Means how we are going to classify means by giving the preference of properties which are repetition. Periodicity is nothing but repetition. If the newspaper are daily coming, this is a repetition. It's called as a period. A weekly newspaper is coming, magazine is coming weekly. Some of the magazines are coming for 15 days. Some of the magazines are coming for per month. 1 month it is coming launching one time. So these are called as for every month they are launching the magazines. So this for every month which is launching or for every 15 days or every day we are calling that as repetition. So I said that the first period is chemistry, next period is physics, next one is maths, next one is bio, like that. So period is nothing but for the same interval of time or the distance, it is undergo the same classes or the periods. Period is nothing but repetition. So what is repeating here? The repeating is nothing but property is repeating. Based on that we are going to classify the elements. So let's start in the classification of elements and periodicity in properties. Here, before we move to the classification, just remove whatever you are having in your mind. Just remove that periodic table, groups, element, properties, modern periodic law, Mendeleev's law. You just forget everything. So let's look at the first in the basic phenomenon. So why we need to classify this element? This is the first point. It was also there in your high school class. Why do we need to classify the elements? Why? What is necessary to classify? Why? Because we are having more number of the elements. So in the last century we were having very few, but at the end of last century means right now we are having 114 elements. 114 elements and discovery of the elements is still ongoing. So it means that we are going to improve or increase the number of elements. So those elements, how we can able to identify which element is having the same property or which element is this kind of property. Means property of the elements, it is not possible to remember individually. Means 114 elements are there, means it is not possible to remember each of the 114 individually. It is not possible. So for that reason, we are going to classify the elements, we need to classify the elements to remember or to understand the properties of the elements. What is that property? Property is nothing but, if I say some of the group, girls are nothing but they are appearing in this. This is what girls. Boys are nothing but they are appearing like this. This is how we are classifying. 7th standard students are nothing but like this. 8th standard students are in this group. 9th students are in this. So here the standard is going to represent their commonly their mentality, their weight, and their education, their knowledge. So here the group is going to give you more number of suggestions about that category. So for that reason, we need to classify the element just to understand, realize the all the elements properties, why? Because if the number of elements are more, it is not possible to remember the properties of all the elements individually. For that reason, we need a classification of elements to understand the properties. The main reason to classify the elements is to understand the chemical or physical overall properties of the element individually. It is not possible because number of the elements are more. For that reason, we need a classification. This is first thing. So next one is here genesis of periodic classification. Here genesis of periodic classification is nothing but we are going to study this is as the, so this concept is going to explain us the history of periodic table. It means that how the classification is beginning, by how they are, how their mentality to classify. So this is called as Genesis classification of, means genesis of periodic classification. Periodic classification. Look here genesis of periodic classification. In this we are going to study about only the 3 scientists, those who you have already studied in the high school. So why? Because the classification of the element, it is not a simple way. So it is did by many of the people have classified. But moreover, we are giving the preference for those who are classified in a systematic manner. So let's begin who classified the first one. So here the first scientist, that is Doberiner, he arranged the elements by some his ideas. So those ideas are nothing but this was the first step to classify the elements. The first person who discovered the elements are nothing but that is none other than Doberiner. Doberiner is a scientist who began to classify the elements. So it doesn't mean that before him nowhere were discovered. They discovered, but they are not bring in front of the authorized person. So here, keep in your mind, this is the classification was did, but it is not launched. It is some idea, but we are not using this one right now. So it means it was just a history. So how we have classified that one. So here, Doberiner is a scientist who arranged the elements by set of 3 elements. This set of 3 elements is called as prime. Prime is nothing but 3. Here I 3. Prime is nothing but 3. Here arrange the elements by set of 3 elements in the increasing order of atomic mass. Can you see here? I hope you remember Z is nothing but atomic number, A is nothing but atomic mass. Whereas he arrange the elements by increasing order of atomic mass. Can you see here? First one is lithium, which is having atomic mass is 27, and sodium is having 23. Potassium here it is 39. So here he arranged the elements by increasing order of atomic weight of the element. Maybe atomic weight or maybe atomic mass. So can you see here? The mass is increasing. The first thing he given the preference for. So here the 3 elements are having the similar properties. First condition is these are having the similar properties. First one. And second one, he arranged the elements, set of 3 elements, he arranged by increasing order of their atomic weight. Atomic weight is increasing. And third one is he set the elements in such a way that the atomic weight of middle one is the mean of first and third. By adding these two by dividing by 2, we are going to get the mean, but we are not giving the preference for this third term. Only we are defining the numerator is arrange the elements by set of 3 elements, that is called as triads. What is triads? They may ask you, or state the triads law. Actually, it is not asking, or it's not much important, but keep in your mind, triad is nothing but numerator. Numerator arrange the elements by triad system. What the triad is going to explain? Triad is going to explain that it is a set of 3 elements where the elements are having the similar properties. Elements are having the similar properties, and the elements are based by increasing order of their atomic weight. So this is called as triad law or triad system. So this was done by the scientist Doberina. He is the first person. I hope you can able to understand this one. The next person after him is, second one is the great scientist, that is Newland. Newland, he is the scientist who gave a very important concepts to Newland. Newland is the name of the scientist, whereas we are calling that as Newland's law. So because Newland, he given very important concept, but this person fails by some very silly mistakes. He did very silly mistake. What that silly? But being saying a silly is very difficult. So it's not my idea. So he, according to him, it was the right, but according to the whole world, it is a wrong thought for us. So what he did means, Newland, he arranged the elements by the same, how the people are following the same thing. What means they are arranging the elements by increasing the order of atomic mass. Keep in your mind, increasing the order of atomic mass or increasing the order of atomic weight. Both are same here. So here he arranged the elements by increasing the atomic weight, and he tried to make it as the properties of the elements are repeating. The properties of the elements are repeating. That's why he used the word period. First time the word period was launched by the scientist Newland. How means, according to him, he said that every eighth element is having the similar properties to the first one. Every eighth element is having the similar properties to the first one. How means, according to him, think that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. I don't know why I am using this word. So let me write this in this Karnataka Rajasthan. Sa. I am using the Kannada word sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. Sa. So this is a musical raga. We are calling that as a very fundamental tune. So a music starts from this sarigama padani. So why I am writing this one means this person, the very great person, he is Newland. He said that the properties of the elements are repeating for every eighth element. For every eighth element is having the similar properties to the first one. So according to him, the Newland's law, that is called as Newland's law. Newland's law states that every eighth element, can you see from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and eighth element. So first one is eighth one is here. Every eighth element is having the similar properties to the first one. If I begin the second one from here means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and eighth one from here, it is eighth one is this one. So ninth number is the similar properties to the second one. Similarly, 10th one is having the similar properties to the third one. How I am writing this? If I begin one from this fourth number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, means every eighth element, according to the fourth number, every eighth element is having the similar properties to the first one. This is the eighth element to the fourth number. For that reason, he said that every eighth element is having the similar properties to the first element. So this statement is called as Newland's law. So he said that the properties, how he arranged this. Newland arranged the elements by increasing the number of atomic mass. Can you see here? Here 1, 2, 3, 4 means first one is lesser atomic mass than the second one, whereas 2 is greater than first, 3 is greater than previous, 4th is greater than previous, 5th is greater than previous. Like this, he arranged the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass or atomic weight. The next one is also here, one is having the greater atomic mass than the previous one. Here also atomic mass is increasing. But how he repeating means for every year, soon after the 7, 8 he is placing below. Again from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8 he is placing the below. So he said that every 8th element is having the similar properties to the first one. This is called as Newland's law. So it is itself, this meaning is called as, this statement is called as Newland's law. What is Newland's law? So Newland's law states that every 8th element is having the similar properties to the first one, is called as Newland's law. So here, how he arranged the elements means he arranged the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass, and he said that the properties of the elements are repeating. Properties of the elements are repeating to every 8th element. If 7 is up to here and this is it. So why I have written Sarigamapadani means this is not my mistake. The mistake done by the great scientist Newland. Why means if he said only this much means he will be the very greatest person in this world. But this person was just compared the properties of the elements are going to obey the musical instrumental tunes. So we know that the properties of the elements are belong to the science and it's particularly in chemistry. But the music is totally different. It comes in arts. But seems to be the 7 for every year means sir. Can you say sir? Re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. Again sir, we are spelling them. In the instrument we are saying that sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. Again the 8th letter is coming similar to first one. This person compared these properties of the element to the first one. That is why he did a very great mistake in this classification. Is he compared the properties of the element to the musical instrument. For that reason, the Newland have a drawback to succeed in his achievement. So otherwise, apart from this only one term, the Newland he did a very greater classification, because based on this classification, the next coming scientist is continued his classification with his ideas. So keep in your mind, Doberiner arranged the elements by set of 3 elements, that is called as triades. And next one, Newland arranged the element, the increasing order of the atomic mass, and every 8th element is having the similar properties to the first one. Every 8th element is having the similar to the first one. That is 8 is called as octaves law. What is octaves law or what is Newland's law? Both are same. So octaves law states that every 8th element is having the similar properties to the first one, whereas every element is arranged in the increasing order of atomic mass. So this is called as octaves law. Keep in your mind, octave is the given 8. Every 8 period, the word was first launched by the scientist Newland. I hope you can be able to understand this one. Those who are music lovers or who loves music don't get much happy. This is Sarigama is not related to our chemistry. Keep in your mind, this is only for the fun, I say. But the Newland, the drawback is only the comparing the properties of the element with the instrumental, that is Sarigama mentioned. So coming to the next one. So here they will ask you state octaves law. What is triad? They may ask, but I am not sure about that, because it is very fundamental basic answer. This will be needed to understand the higher, that's all. Only need to know the history. So I hope I said in the last class also that we are not giving the preference for the history. Means who discovered, when discovered, what prize we got. Never. Such questions will never come in the science. So keep in your mind, because first few students will be not knowing what they will ask. So compared to the first 10, we are having very narrow courses in this PUC, but most of your friends have asked, sir, whether it is necessary to solve the access questions. No need to even look at that one. Why? Because the concepts, whichever it is there for the PUC, those are limited, and in that only we are having that limited blueprints. What is that blueprint? It's based on that blueprint. They are going to arise the so we are not referring the exercise, means we are not even looking at that one, because we are having the different question banks in this chapter. Which of the science? Yeah, either in the physics, chemistry or anything. So you can just refer the mathematics. Mathematics will go according to the exercise. But we people means chemistry, we are not referring the exercises. Even I don't know about the physics, but moreover, no one is referring the exercises. So you should keep in your mind. So coming to the next one, the next sentence, that is Doberillers have Doberiller first one, second one is Newland, and third one is Mendeleev. Mendeleev is one of the great scientists. Mendeleev. So the law which is launched by the Mendeleev is called as Mendeleev's law. So keep in your mind these two fellows, Doberiller and Newland, set his ideas, and they have the classification, but they are not launched. They are not launched in the sense. We were not using this triad and Newland's law. Why? Because the set of three elements, it is not possible to continue, because only set of 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, how extent we can able to continue that one? It's not possible. For some extent it will repeat, and later it's not possible to classify the only set of 3 elements. Therefore, this triad system are failed to continue. This is the drawback of triad. The next one, Newland, is he failed. Why? Because first thing is he used the sarigama, compared the properties with the sarigama, that's why. And second one, more important, is the properties, every element is repeating to having the same properties of first one. This repetition of properties from 8th to 1st, this follows only for up to 20 atoms, means up to the calcium. This theory, this phenomenon, his idea follows. To the next element, this is not obeying, so it will be having some unconfusion, or they are not favoring to these statements. For that reason, the Newland theory is restricted to up to calcium, means up to 20 atoms it is eligible. So next to the calcium, they are not following his rules. For that reason, this theory have the drawback up to the calcium. So next one, it is not having obeying. Are you getting this one? These are the drawback of Doberiller and Newland. So that the next person, that is Mendeleev, continues his classification. Here, Mendeleev same thing. He has also arranged the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass. First thing, increasing order of atomic mass, and he given the more preference for the similarity of the properties. Similarity means property which are having the similar properties. He given the more preference for the atoms which are having similar property. He is giving the preference for the increasing. This is arranging the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass only. But more than this, he was giving the preference for. He has given the preference for the similarity. Means what? Just look here. Here is the element A, and here is the element B, C, and he thinks that the element D is having the similar properties to the A, means he is going to keep it. So next one is E, and the next one is F and G, and the next one is H. According to him, he thinks that H is greater. H is having the greater atomic mass than the G, and here also P is greater than A, C is greater than B, and D is greater than C. Atomic mass is greater. F is having the greater mass than A. There is no doubt. A arranges the elements in the increasing order of atomic mass only. But look here, G and H is having the greater atomic mass than the G. Sometimes he given the more preference if H is having the properties similar to this C and F, then he is going to place this H in this place, and he is going to keep a space, keep a vacuum in this group, and he is going to say that no, this H is having the greater mass than G, no, but this H is going to obey the properties of this group, properties of this group. That's why he given the more preference for the similar properties. And he said that here we not yet all discovered one element. If we discover in the future, we have to place that element here, so that this element is going to obey the properties of this group, and it is having slightly the atomic mass in between of G and H. This idea was given by the great scientist Mendeleev. Keeping in mind, he said the properties of elements are repeating, but repetition he not did in a systematic. Means these fellows are in the by set of 3, he set the set of 7. Means every element is having similar properties. But this person is given a regular in the sense it is not a only same pattern. He given set of properties. First 2 he arranged, next here is the 8, 18, 18. Like this he arranged the elements. Means why he arranged only 2 means after that 2 he observed that the third element is having the similar properties to the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is it. Like that he arranged. Means he given the more preference for the atoms which are having similar properties. He arranged the elements by giving the similar properties. So according to him, the Mendeleev arranged the elements by increasing the order of the atomic mass. Moreover, he given the more preference for the similarity of the elements, means atoms. So by that he conclude that he given the more preference for the similarity of atom, and he kept some of the spaces vacant, and he suggested that the vacant space indicate that those elements are having the similar properties to the same group, and it is having the atomic mass between G and H. Means those who are present previous and exceeding, so it will be having the atomic mass between this previous and next one. So this kind of the suggestion was given by the scientist Mendeleev. So based on this, he has a very good classified elements that classify what he did that will be launched throughout the world. So first time the periodic means classification of element first time launched by the scientist, that is Mendeleev. Mendeleev classification was the first table which we studied already. Means in the Robert and Newland, their classification was not launched, but first time the classification of chart of the element launched by the Mendeleev. Therefore, the table of the chart launched by the Mendeleev, that the chart is called as Mendeleev periodic table. So here one question will arises: state the Mendeleev's law. What is this Mendeleev's law? States that he arranged the elements by increasing the order of atomic mass. For that reason, he said that the properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic mass is called as Mendeleev periodic law. There is no change whichever how you studied it in high school. The same statement is also following here. So Mendeleev's law states that the properties of the element means the properties of the elements are periodic function of their atomic mass, means how the mass are increasing based on that the properties are repeating. It's not based on the fixed. The properties of the masses are repeating in this scale, in this manner. After 2, after 8, after 8, after 18, and after 18. According to this manner, the properties of the elements are repeating. You have no need to define this one, how they are repeating. No need to write this in a statement also. It is only for our understanding. Means he arranged the element in a regular 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, like that he arranged. So this is the main important among overall classification whichever we have studied it. The best and the most important question is the first one is Mendeleev's law. Another one is Octave's law. State Octave's law. They will ask you. Otherwise they will ask you state the Mendeleev's law. So Mendeleev's law states that the properties of the element are the periodic function of their atomic mass. Atomic mass means as the mass is increasing, the properties also repeating. This is about the classification of Mendeleev. So based on him, it was possible to determine 2 of the elements. Which of those elements, if you have a textbook, if you are having some reference book, go through that and then message me which was the 2 element discovered after after the death, after the classification of Mendeleev, there was a two elements discovered after his suggestion as he did a patent. So what are those elements? You just text me, so that those who have texting, I will appreciate them. And in the next week we will continue the classification of some same Mendeleev's some portions left. I will continue that in the next class. So have a nice day. All the best for your exams.